Get down here. Okay. Let's talk about something real quick. So, well, real quick might be a little bit of an overstatement. I've been thinking about a video game for a while. This fucking flat won't stay up. I've been thinking about a video game for a minute. A certain video game that has gotten a lot of criticism. Uh, Arguably, rightfully so. I don't really care about creator intent. I'm talking about Garten of Banban, a indie video game made by the Euphoria brothers, I think. I forget. I forget if that's what they're called. Uh, it's a series of video games. I think there's like 8 of them now, actually. Might be more by now. And they are. I almost want to call them an anti-video game in the sense that they're games made with the explicit sort of idea of deconstructing and just kind of dismantling and deterritorializing the concept of what a good video game is. Most people these days are not very fond of the new trend towards mascot horror. People tend to see things like Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach and its insane prequel, sequel, whatever the fuck is Secret of the Mimic. People don't really tend to like Poppy Playtime. People don't really care that much for Hello Neighbor. Any of its other derivatives, I think there is a growing sort of resentment towards these things because they're mostly seen as sort of like a cash grab type deal. They're very they seem cobbled together and cartoonish, and I've seen the words infantilization of horror being thrown around. Uh Interesting concepts, interesting. But I kind of want to fight against this this notion a little bit because I'm someone who's grown to appreciate these things a lot more as time goes on. I've grown to like Poppy Playtime. I've somehow, as the long veteran Five Nights at Freddy's fan that I am, learned to see past the very many flaws of Security Breach in order to greatly enjoy its atmosphere. And as far as Garten of Banban, I think Garten of Banban has been the key, the one thing to sort of make it obvious to me what mascot horror is. Because Garten of Banban showed me the bare, naked, gross reality of mascot horror. When you take Garten of Banban at face value, it is something that is just ugly to look at. It's hideous. All of its graphics are slathered with this weird texturing that makes all of the creatures look veiny and disgusting. Nothing about these games are even remotely trying to pretend at the idea that this sort of kindergarten is of any substance to children whatsoever. It doesn't try to even remotely pretend at the idea that it is trying to be taken seriously. Because at the end of the day, horror has always been a little bit campy. We sometimes forget that some of the most classic horror films were made in not the most serious of light. Uh, you know, any number of Friday the 13th films should give you leeway on that. I think the negative response to Garten of Banban seems to stem from this idea that it's a soulless cash grab, a disgusting perversion of the already rotting corpse that is mascot horror. These people rail at the Euphoria brothers for being such soulless corporate creators who care only about money, and therefore that's why they keep rolling these things out one after the other with no end in sight, and none of it makes sense. None of it needs to make sense. You know why? Because they got your fucking money. That's what the impression is anyway. I'm not going to pretend to care about the true intentions of the Euphoria brothers. That is only something that they will know in their heart of hearts. I don't care about that. What I want to talk about is how Garten of Banban affected me. What it made me think about. The questions that it made me consider. Garten of Banban is an anti-video game in the sense that it resents you for even playing it. It takes any opportunity it can to give you some obtuse concept of gameplay that is hinged on factors that you might not even know getting into it. It might not give you all of the rules. It might not tell you a hint. It doesn't hold your hand, but at the same time, it does a lot. It's a very hand-holdy game when it wants to be. And when it doesn't want to be, it will feed you to the wolves and let you figure it out on your own. It is a very malevolent game. Because it is particularly a perverted, disgusting, grotesque parody of Poppy Playtime. It is taking these things that we can theoretically take seriously, these ideas of like these cute mascots being in reality disgusting, horrifying monsters, and it takes it to the natural conclusion where these mascots aren't even like they were never going to be cute mascots for kids. Garten of Banban has a very pessimistic outlook on the world. It's a world where we kind of just let these things happen, where teachers are allowed to be abusive, where we're just allowed to have creepy, predatory, gross, cute creatures that feast on our pancreas. And if you're caught off guard by the fact that I'm taking this seriously, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining. I hope I don't freak you out too badly. If I do, sucks to suck. The reaction to Garten of Banban kind of reminds me of the reaction I've seen to various modern art pieces. Things like Who's Afraid of Red, Yellow, and Blue, or any number of pieces by the great Rothko. People see these very simple paintings, these very simple pieces of art, and they see them as like manipulative. They see them as useless, pointless, valueless because of their simplicity. They're seen as valueless because of the sort of manner in which they are portrayed. I finally got it to look cool. They were highly criticized because of that. Now, keep in mind, a lot of those factors come down in those specific cases to various shades of racism and anti-Semitism, specifically for the person behind who's afraid of red, yellow, and blue. I'll have to look that up later. Um, but I see a similar situation with the reaction to Garden of Banban, because I think any closer inspection of Garten of Banban and what it is would clue you in that it's not really taking itself very seriously. It's not really taking you very seriously. It kind of questions you for even giving money to play it. Now, you could kind of see that this would be an indictment of the game, if it's judging me for giving it money, why would I give it money? Now I'm not supporting the idea that you should you should inherently give the Euphoria brothers money simply because they created the Garten of Banban. What I'm saying is that I don't really begrudge them for making the Garten of Banban and for publicizing the Garten of Banban and for putting it out for money, because I see it in a similar light to something like Giraffe Town, I think the game is called. That's another very sort of simplistic, strange, abstract, gross game about a giraffe and his struggles in life. His struggle to find love, and eventually his struggle against forces beyond his comprehension, which could be interpreted in many different ways. I think that a lot of sort of talented indie developers who don't go the traditional route of trying to make a traditionally satisfying video game, who try new things, often get put in the same slot as something like Digital Homicide Studios, a developer who just makes I forget what, asset flips, that's the word. And I think this fundamentally misses the point of art. Specifically, this misses the point of what we would consider outsider art. If you are making something that is inherently not a part of the systemic idea of what art should be, what a video game should be, I should be able to, a video game shouldn't be this ugly. It shouldn't be this simple. It shouldn't be this handholdy. There should be more substance to this video game. You fundamentally miss the point of art. Art doesn't need to be anything. It doesn't need to cater to your wants. Art exists in of itself. It exists because of the desire to make it. It doesn't exist out of your desire to have something that fits your demographic. It doesn't exist out of the desire for you to have something that fits your niche. If you have a niche, go find things that are a part of that niche. Stop belittling other things or people who like those things, because I've seen people get harassed for liking Garten of Banban. I've seen so much bullshit about the sort of people are talking about the infantilization of horror. These people are infantilizing the people who like this kind of horror. So fucking what? If it's just kids who like this shit. If it was just kids, who cares? Who cares? It is on you that you are belittling children. What's the fucking point? What's the point of shit-talking children? And this topic has gotten ahead of me. I'm just kind of trying to explore some ideas that Garten of Banban has brought to me. But seriously, what is the point of shit-talking children for no reason? I children are often sort of taken as like these stupid people who just like will swallow whatever you give them without hesitation and just like and just take all the bullshit and like gross slop. Like they act like children are fucking stupid. They act like they don't have any intelligence or agency whatsoever. And if you think that, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but the children are smarter than you. If you think that, they are objectively smarter than you if you think that. So what can we learn from Garten of Banban? Well, we can learn that sometimes a video game doesn't intend for us to play it like it's a AAA or even just a normal horror game. I think about the sort of mixed reaction that Killer 7 had at first. People didn't understand what Suda51 was trying to do with Killer 7. They saw a game with a bunch of weird mechanics that didn't seem to cohere in a way that made sense. And that's kind of the core of this. Garten of Banban is an indictment of the idea that things need to make sense. It is an indictment of the idea that we should be making video games for people, that we should be making video games for the entertainment and enjoyment of people, that we should be dedicating any of our time to making something that isn't what we want. Garten of Banban hates you for judging it. It throws its naked, withering, maggot-infested corpse at you and expects you to fall in line or get the hell out. Because if you can't handle Garten of Banban, you're not ready for the next generation. You're not ready for what art is yet to come. You're not ready for the post-postmodernists, for the post-post-postmodernists, for the meta-modernists, for when modernism eventually fucking dies and crumbles, and all of modern society in the US and the West entirely crumbles, and all the world is united in bliss and glee in this new free world where capitalism and fascism and all hierarchy is dismantled and destroyed at our feet. And it tells you that you are not ready for that world. You are not ready to face the fact that nothing has to be anything. You are not ready to face the fact that we don't have to make sense. That making sense is the problem. The problem is that we make sense, is that we have to make sense of everything. What does it mean? What can I fit this in my framework? Can I fit this in my can I make it make sense? Why doesn't it make sense? Why doesn't it make sense? We drive ourselves mad with this shit. We spend all this time bickering and complaining about, oh, we need to make this work. We need to make this work. We need to make this work. We need to fucking... We bash our head against the wall. We put the circle in the circle hole, and we put the triangle in the triangle hole. We put the square in the square hole, desperately shaking the machine, begging it to tell us we did something right. You did it right. You did it right. You fixed it all. You fixed it. You fixed it. You can't fix Garten of Banban. And you're never gonna. It's gonna continue to lay out there, disgusting and pulsing and throbbing. That's a fucking horrible way to describe it. And you know what? Couldn't have found a better way to describe it, really. That's what it's all about. So you know what? I love Garten of Banban. I believe it has the right to exist. All 8 or fucking 20 parts of it, I don't fucking know. You know. Yeah. In due time, we will get to a point where we can make sense of art like this, where it won't bounce off of us. And in that time, we will be free, because we will be able to accept that our framework fundamentally doesn't mean anything. It is a ephemeral thing. It doesn't mean anything. And we will be able to create legacy-defining shit. We will be able to ascend past our human forms in many ways that we could never before, if we just accept that Garten of Banban is a pretty good video game. Yep, that's the thesis of the video. Goodbye. Fuck you.